Sorcerer King all the time.
We are going live right
Nothing
now.
but Sorcerer King.
One more sip.
You can't see it right now, but Scott is drinking some weird green Coke thing.
It's Coca-Cola Life.
Yeah,
It's sugarcane and stevia.
No. Nope.
I'm sure.
So, in other news, the reason you can't see it, though, is because Scott really wanted to show off what the team has been hard at work
we
for
have
the
been
last
so
2 weeks.
busy.
We've been heads down.
Heads down. I don't know if you can see it.
You can see it,
but
I made sure of that.
We did a workshop icon.
So you can get to the workshop.
You
from
can
the
get to the
main menu
workshop.
now. You don't have to use a cheat key or anything.
There was we had scheduled 4 days to design the icon. Only took 3. And then the rest of the time implementing and testing. It clicks. You can unclick it. And that's about it. So
the great thing is that the camera's not on, so I don't have to try to keep a straight face. No.
Okay, so let's quit. Okay,
Yeah.
see you guys. Bye.
See you next week.
No, we have been so busy. The last 2 weeks, a lot of people were able to take. Actually, we all got vacation time. We
did.
But I think most of that vacation time was spent thinking about Sorcerer King, and because some of us came in. Anyways, tons of balancing, just tons of stuff. We'll go through some of the changes, and actually, you guys will be getting this build this afternoon. So we've been making tons of changes. We want to get them out to you guys as quickly as possible. So this build that you're seeing, along with that sweet workshop icon, will be in your hands tonight. But let's dive in. You're gonna have to help me, Adam, because so much stuff has changed under the covers. It's not. You don't see it here. So these icons are bigger. So you can a lot of icon work apparently.
Well, Jenna has to do something to keep herself busy. We appreciate Jenna's work very much. She does great stuff. You don't really see it here.
Actually, we did change.
Did these get polished up a little bit?
Yeah. Well, the descriptions. One of the we got some feedback that was like, what you have this ability, hypnotism. We have spell books. We have all this stuff. But what is the sovereign? What's the sovereign's thing? And so the tyrant, there's a lot of thematic stuff in the text. So now we actually this doesn't have it. My changes got overwritten. I'm so glad I brought that up.
No.
Okay, but anyways.
I have no idea what you're talking about.
These descriptions actually describe their gameplay. They describe their gameplay changes. Some of them do. Maybe it's just a tyrant. Anyways, so lots of tweaks, lots of changes.
I'll say hypnotism is much better now since its mana cost got
chopped down, but it does has a pretty beefy charge time now. Like you have to wait. Yeah, you have to wait to use it.
Oh, not in the last build I played. I think that charge time might have gotten added for the 2 o'clock build. Okay, on the 1 o'clock build. That's kind of where we're at.
Basically every hour it's a new game.
It's
so
not quite.
But it's like okay, we got to
Yep. Because we're doing a ton of playtesting right now too.
Yeah.
So it's important to have the latest. But we had a question. Are we doing an opt-in or a regular update?
I'm sure it's going to be an opt-in.
This has not gone through a ton of QA.
No, these are super hot builds that may fry your computer, but
they won't fry your computer. They may crash. They may do weird things. But no, so tons of balance work. Actually, Scott, you should load up the game that I was playing on that machine.
Do I have access? Oh, okay, good.
Yeah. Oh, you totally do.
Actually, let's. I'll go through some of the startup stuff real quick. So one of the new we tweaking, finalizing some of these graphics.
Oh yeah.
Let's see. Oh, I guess I don't need this.
The start locations have been tweaked quite a lot.
A lot more starting locations.
Just more chests and fewer layers around your start is a big change that people will notice right away, which is kind of good. It's honestly, like we had that big balance pass that we put out where we beefed up a lot of the monsters, and it kind of turned into like you were under siege a little bit right away, and so we had to kind of walk that back a little bit. And giving some more chests early on lets you dive into the crafting right away and stuff like that, which is nice.
Yeah. So one of the new buildings that you can build right away is you're gonna have to help me on this reliquary.
Yes, no, the reliquary is awesome because it lets you enchant,
Yeah, so right off,
it lets you recruit enchanters who are great.
Yeah, so if you get crystal, basically we wanted to we had to deal with the horse metal situation. It's like, why would I ever get crystal?
Right.
And so it's used in a whole bunch of other places now. But most importantly is this enchanter that you can get to help beef up. He is a not as good as the Sovereign cast versions, but like haste. He has a whole bunch of stuff that he can use to beef up your guys from the back line.
Yep.
So that makes crystal useful early on.
Ooh, you having processing little Coca-Cola Life there?
Apparently,
Scott?
Coca-Cola Life comes with extra gas.
Oh, gross.
I'm so sorry. I went off. Am I on camera?
Oh yes. Oh yes.
Oh, whatever. I thought you had that stuff turned off. Okay.
Oh, well, I did, but then people wanted to see your beautiful beard, so.
I have been growing that back.
That's true. That's true. It weirds me out when I see you without a beard, man. Oh, new Shadowlands texture?
Shadowlands.
Which I think is still kind of in process to some extent.
Yeah, a little bit. Let's go up to crafting.
So many changes to crafting.
Tons of changes.
I mean, not like crazy changes, but like basically, I spent a whole day going through all the items and crafting requirements and stats and everything, and kind of evened things out a little bit. Like there were, if you played a lot, you probably noticed like there were some swords that were like required level 3 that had like 14 attack and like ridiculous stuff like that. And so some of those got kind of evened out. None of the axes had level requirements. The crafting, the costs were kind of all over the place. Yeah. So just a lot of kind of just a pass to kind of normalize things to some extent. And Scott, it's called Scott My Buddy. But not to normalize, because that implies like flattening things out and making them boring. But we also added a ton of differentiation to all of the various weapons. So like the mage staves, the 3 tier 2 mage staves, the hailstone staff, the hellfire staff, and the late staff, all apply a unique debuff when you hit somebody with them. Yep. So like there's a point to having them instead of just crafting the staff of the furnace and calling it a day. And so a lot of cool stuff like that. Oh yeah, I haven't got enchanted forge yet. Sorry. Tons of stuff on that. Totally rejiggered the not totally, but significant rejigger of the crafting materials and what they do in enchanting.
Yeah, so, I wanted to show that off. Right now, enchanted forge.
You just cheat it up.
Yeah,
nice. So like for example, cedarwood oil +1 initiative instead of +3 is a big one. All the gems do things that are useful now instead of like +4 fire resist, which is like flush 5 mana down the drain. Like, so those are gone. They do stuff like the clouded topaz thing. Anytime you can enchant a clouded topaz onto an item, and then anybody that attacks that unit gets a -1 initiative penalty, which is resistible. I should point out. So like, don't plan on nerfing the lieutenants too badly with that, but it can be cool.
But it's nice because then you have, you can buff a guy with those. Some of them are going to hit, and then you can make a cool tanky guy that boosts his HP, puts some health regen on him, and it gives you some neat dials to play with.
Yep. Speaking of health regen, mana berries are health regen now instead of mana per kill, because that was insane. Mana per kill is now on Demon Horn, so you can't break the game that way any longer. So I apologize for those of you who enjoyed that, but it was a little, and by a little I mean completely game-breakingly OP.
Fire damage, rubies give fire damage. Just a whole bunch of.
Yeah.
So between
the venom sacks. The venom sacks are awesome. So the venom sacks give you a poison shot. Or whatever it's called, I don't remember. It's some poison.
Venomous dart.
Venomous dart. But it does 1 damage per round for each venom sack that you have equipped on somebody. So you can basically enchant a bunch of venom sacks onto one dude, and that it comes at a significant cost because it's a fair mana investment. You have to find the items, and you have to spend all those enchanting slots. But if you do, you can have a guy doing like 10 damage poison darts, which is like a ton of damage, which is pretty cool. So just different unique abilities to try to give people different ways to customize their armies, because that's really what SK is about.
Plus, the big thing is 1 slot.
1 slot per sovereign. Yeah. Yes, you start with 1 slot for Enchanted Forge. You get another through Order of the Forge, which is one of the wonders that you can build, which you have to build, I think, as jeweler and
it's pretty far. It's like 3 or 4 deep.
Yeah, it's pretty well. It's jeweler and expensive. Scribe, or
all of them. Okay,
it's 2 of the 3, I think.
Okay,
but anyway, so the point is, you have to have a really built up city, and then you have to spend all this production on the Order of the Forge, and that unlocks your second slot. And then the Tinkerer has a sovereign ability that gives another +1. So the Tinkerer could theoretically get up to +3. Troy Costastic asks, why are they called mana berries if they're regen hit points? Because they regen hit points magically, duh. Because mana per kill was completely overpowered, is the short answer. There were basically 2 choices, which were to make mana berries really hard to find so that you couldn't stack up a ton of mana per kill on one unit, like a hero, for example, and go rampaging and just win the game with piles and piles of mana. And that kind of sucked because then we have to change a ton of potion recipes and a ton of other recipes because if mana berries are suddenly super rare, then it's like, okay, well, now I can never make, potions of freaking anything except for minor healing. So that's lame. So anyway,
nerf their ability.
Yep. So we changed that.
Good.
That's on demon horns now, which you can still find, but demon horns are also required to make the new legendary weapons, which are in as well. Yep. So you have a bit of a choice there. Probably you're going to want to make the legendary weapons with them, which I'm personally totally okay with, because legendary weapons should be cooler. I renamed, I have the cameras on, which I should turn off on this game here. I renamed a bunch of units, like Athica is called Thank You Scott, and Tandis is called Scott is My Hero.
Oh, I like these names. Yeah.
Because, man, Scott spent a ton of time actually implementing all the balance changes that I put together in a spreadsheet. It's a pain in the butt. It is a pain in the butt because you're just sitting there meticulously going through the spreadsheet.
So many numbers. It's actually not. It's not the numbers. It's the when something has an effect, you got to hook it up in a couple of different areas. Right. But it's all worth it. So
it ends up with definitely a better game. Yeah. Let's see. Why no major mana potion? That's not a bad question. Why don't we have a major mana potion? Because we never made one.
I guess we just never.
Usually by that point, it's like if you're making major stuff, you usually want to be making cool stuff like Blizzard Scrolls and Fireball Scrolls.
I mean, the fact
Death Ward.
There's this design philosophy that you can soften a system by having a resource come from too many places. Even I mean, I don't think we should have minor mana potions. I mean, we have mana is supposed to come from the shards. That's supposed to be where it comes from. And then as we develop the game, we decide, you should be able to get it from cities if you want to build there, and you can get them from weapons that give mana back on kills and spells and stuff. So, the more basically we just want to limit all the places you can get mana from.
Right.
Try to keep it to the main ones.
Yep. And I mean, I'm really sensitive to the idea of just nerfing stuff and making stuff, keeping stuff from being overpowered by making it boring, which is the last thing that we want to do. It's better to have overpowered stuff that's fun, even if it's game breaking, than making things just flat and bland. Right. And so that's why we've been trying to, every time we do something like nerf mana berries, do something else that's cool. So the minor mana potion is now 20 mana instead of 10. Mm-hmm. I believe that's in this build. It was supposed to be in this build.
Oh, let's find out.
Because 10 mana was just okay, I can cast one spell. 20 mana is that's a whole friggin' city enchantment, or most of a city enchantment, which isn't bad. So yeah. There it is. I'm actually curious as to whether that's 10 or 20 right now. It 10. Says it's 10. It might be. Yeah. Anyway, we'll fix it. So yeah. What else have you been working on, Scott? I've been babbling about what I've been working on.
We got the volcanoes in.
Yeah, and all the interactions around the volcanoes.
Oh my
I think those were in the last one.
Were they in the last one? Okay. I don't think I talked about them. So got the volcano in. Now because the volcano was really easy before because you would just take out a minor race and it'd be gone, poof. Whereas now that they can expand, you have the situation where you can take out a minor race city, but they're still around. So Chris Buckles got to have fun making the text for when you volcano somebody into war, basically. So the volcano stuff, just Shadowlands Armageddon. The Armageddon spell, it was spitting out units that would come straight for you, which wasn't cool. So we just changed that. So instead of spitting out units all the time, you get a flat, like, here's 3 Harbingers for you to control.
Okay. Oh, man, Harbingers are way better. Like, big pass on SK units in particular to make the SK armies themselves more, I guess, varied to fight. And
more interesting.
Yeah, and more interesting. And B, to make them ultimately a little harder on the high end. Because as we've talked about a lot, or at least internally, and people who have played the game a lot probably know, there's a big kind of plateau that you hit, that you often can hit in the game, where like your heroes get so awesome and your like main units get so awesome between crafting and enchanting and everything else, that you just start wiping the floor with everything, below lieutenants.
Yeah.
And that's boring and that's dumb. So we are trying to, to try to kind of smooth out, fill in that difficulty gap a little bit.
Yeah.
So Harbingers are kind of the high-end SK units, and they're fixed a little bit. The icon is finally fixed. That icon has been broken forever. Yeah. That's the essence icon for city settling. It was the mana icon forever.
And I know it came up here. This is fixed as well.
So. Which is?
The one on the city.
Oh, yes.
It was it was broken there as well.
Sorry, the camera's recovering it. Our beautiful faces.
Oh, yeah.
Got a question. Did Scott take a look at the early game absence of flagons? I have never had that problem, I guess, and certainly I didn't have that problem today.
I think that was just a random. I looked through there, and I mean, there's tons of stuff that drops flagons. So,
yeah, I've always had a bunch.
I worry that was just you can't. This is a game where unfortunately you can get random number generated into situations that you kind of have to think yourself out of.
I don't know if that's necessarily a problem, though, because like if you think about what makes SK interesting, it's kind of going through. It's a couple things, right? It's like going through and adventuring and like getting more awesome, and like there's all this kind of progression and between hero level and sovereign level and crafting and enchanting and all that stuff. Right. So there's that. And so that's a big part of what we've been working on with the balance and making the weapons cool. Right. We gave a ton of weapons, new special abilities and stuff. And then the other side is what were we talking about? Oh, flagons. Is kind of reacting to the RNG, because there's so many different kind of stacking layers of RNG, random number generator, in the game, right? There's how the map is generated. There's how the SK reacts to you. There's how the minor quests come up and how their faction, whether they ally with you or you go and take them out. Like there's so many of those kind of issues. Okay, we have 2 more people saying that they've seen no early flagons on several games now. Maybe that was a weird thing in the latest public build. I don't know. It's like I said, it's certainly not the case here. Like this game, I have a bunch. This is literally on the latest build. I have a bunch in here.
Yeah, let me see. I guess I can
find. Well, go look at.
Oh yeah,
minor healing potion. So I still have 2, and I've made like 8 or something. Okay. I tend to burn through a lot of minor healing potions early on. So I've made a lot of potions already, and it's like turn 15 or 20 or something. So certainly there wasn't any issue for me. And this is through several playthroughs recently. Yeah. So I think that there may have been some weird thing thrown in. But anyway, my point is, it's okay to have those kind of outlier things of like, oh man, I'm really not finding any flagons in this game. I can't rely on potions, so I have to do different things.
It makes that game... Different. It gives personality to that game session. I know some of my best game sessions are where I'm landlocked or where I'm on an island. I'm like, oh, I actually like all of a sudden, lower land and summonship are like
and stuff.
That stuff becomes my lifeblood, and it makes that game more interesting. That I guess I'm using this spell primarily this game. So
So I mean. If there's an issue with flagons, I don't mean to say you guys are wrong or lying or anything. Certainly, it's something we should look at.
I'm guessing, we'll be on the lookout for it. But one thing to keep in mind with these super hot, fresh off the build machine builds is there will be random issues that come up and then go away, just kind of on their own as we
Yeah, and a lot of it has to do too with like, oh, well, this small change we made to the way that layers spawn changed what the monster mix, which made this one ingredient a lot harder to find, and this other ingredient is all over the place now because that's what those monsters drop, right? And so there's always those kinds of things. Like we had the thing where there were for a little while there were ogres freaking everywhere, so it's just like I'm gonna put ogre blood on everybody.
Oh my gosh,
ogre blood's now +5 instead of +10, by the way, because +10 was insane. Ed Zero says the game has evolved to the point where it randomly affects the game with prohibition laws, which is amusing. But yeah, this is a pretty interesting map. One of the things that we did was very recently added a lot more fertile city sites basically to the game, which is cool because it lets the rivals expand a little bit more. It makes it easier for the SK to go find places to plop down its strongholds. Oh, keepers! I love the keepers. I love the keepers because I love their hero. I love their hero, and they're one of the factions that gives you reduced Doomsday as like their faction bonus.
Oh, nice, yeah.
I always try to ally with the keepers when I can. So what was I on about? Oh, fertile land and city settling. So that makes the game totally better of having more places to settle. Even though you're still going to get those maps where it's like, man, this is a lot of desert or a lot of swamp or whatever, and that's going to happen. But between that and the making Restore Land a lot easier to cast. Yeah. Restore Land was really hard to cast for a while. Forever, basically. Because the restrictions on what could be in that 3x3 zone.
Oh yeah, that was ridiculous.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, that was my fault.
Oh, was that a
it was just a data
special
thing.
Yeah. Because it just like what terrain types it was seeing is legal.
Yeah. Actually, no, I think that was a code thing. I had it set up so that it could do vine forest, but for some reason it was saying, "Oh, this is actually forest," and I don't know. Every time we change something, it's like, "Oh, there's a bug in there," and it's code, and et cetera, et cetera.
What else have we been up to? Man.
Yeah, I guess the abilities on the units is pretty big. Like that, yeah. I had a lot of fun doing the pass on that just because it's, it's more fun to go into a battle where it's like, oh, I got to change things up. Harbingers now, they have the Form of Mist ability where you won't be able to hit them with physical damage for 3 turns when they activate it. So you have to, you can't just go in with a heavy hitter like Tandis or Varda and expect to make it through. You got to think a little. And a bunch of other stuff. Oh, actually, I wanted to talk about some of the new.
I believe on this one.
The priest. I guess I can just talk about it.
You could. Or, whatever.
So one of the bugs that has been around forever is that the Ranger's Falcon would.
Oh God, yeah.
You'd get him and he would die, and you're like, okay,
wow, I just wasted. Great use of a skill point.
The worst use of a skill point ever. So in fixing that, we fixed it in such a way where it opened the door for other things, basically other non-champion units to be able to go back to the city, kind of like what champions do right now.
Yes.
So the Falcon goes back to the city.
It would really suck if you lost like 20 Doomsday.
Oh my gosh! Like the Falcon. I'll save you no matter the cost. God. So the priest now has a starting spell, Heavenly Ward, that uses Divine Favor point.
Yes.
And cost 1 mana, but basically you're trainable.
1
mana per turn. So there is that upkeep cost, but you can basically cast it on your starting units or your trainable units. You get pikemen up to level 5; they're hitting hard. You can cast it on them, and they'll stick around for the rest of the game, which is really nice.
Yes,
because losing those guys could be pretty frustrating. Mostly when you have them all like specced out and sweet armor, and poof, a juggernaut smashes them into pulp.
Yep. Or wolves. Wolves. Troy says, good to hear about the Falcon. I used it a couple times and got fed up with it. No, absolutely.
Sorry.
I'm totally in the same boat. And now, because the skill behind that for Paragon, the Ranger hero, is the extra loot on plains and forests.
Oh, yeah.
And it's so good. If you have it on the right map, you get so much extra loot.
And it's like, fine, I guess I'll take the stupid Falcon to get the good stuff.
And the Falcon's not terrible. I'm curious of what you think, Scott. I kind of want to put another sight radius on it, so it's 2 instead of 1.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
Because one is so.
Thank you.
Tiny.
I meant to do that when I tweaked them. So yes.
So yeah, but yeah, no, Paragon's awesome now. There's also, he got a minor buff along with the crafting or the weapon balance pass. So all the starting weapons are 0 attack now, so that when you get your first you get your hunter short sword or whatever, it's +6. It's like, that's +6. That's awesome. Yeah. Which was always the case for the sword heroes, Tandis and Varda, but was not the case for the mages and for the axe dudes. Axe dude. Okay. Well, no, there's I think one of the remnant champions is. But anyway, so they're all 0 now, and that attack got rolled into their base attack. So they start with basically the same attack. So you won't see them they don't all of a sudden suck at level 1. But then point is, Drogon got a small nerf because he was madly overpowered. And Paragon got a little buff in terms of attack, so they're a little bit more interesting. Oh, and bows are totally better now too, in general, because there's the venomous short bow has a thing where every time you hit something with it, it gets a stacking -1 poison damage every turn, which is sweet. Yeah. So anyway, let's see. Question. Sorry, did you have something you wanted?
No, I decided to.
Oh, you're gonna die.
Attack them for.
You're gonna totally
just
die.
For fun.
No, that's all good. It's a stream. That's what it's for. I think we recently went in and made these a little bit harder too, although I could be mistaken on that. Yeah. I know we were talking about it. Wolves. I wanted to make the point about wolves that we took freaking Deadly Bite off of regular wolves, which thank goodness.
Yeah.
Because they were just brutal. They're still pretty brutal because they tend to come in big packs and they have swarm tactics or pack tactics or whatever the thing is that doubles the swarm bonus. So they're still pretty nasty, even for all that they're fragile, but they're not quite as bad. So, jeez. You know how much trouble I went to hypnotize that dire wolf?
Oh yeah, sorry.
I'm
not gonna save it. Don't worry.
Yeah. Okay. Well, whatever. It's not like this is a legit playthrough anyway. Let's see. Anyway, we had a question from CW. He says, Scott, can the strength of the Sorcerer King and his lieutenants be scaled up according to the difficulty level in the Doomsday counter? On higher difficulty levels with high Doomsday, the SK Castle army and his lieutenants' armies are very weak compared to the SK forces in the field. That's an interesting point.
I'll bring that up to Brad.
That's not a bad. The easy way to do that would be to give them abilities that just scale with Doomsday.
Yes.
Is probably the way to go with it.
Yeah.
To just give them bonus attack, bonus defense, bonus hit points, whatever.
Yeah.
Well, hit points probably not, but bonus attack, bonus defense, bonus whatever.
It's doable. Yeah, it's doable on the abilities end.
I mean, that would be a fairly easy way to do it without breaking a bunch of other stuff.
Yeah, I'll talk to Brad and see what he thinks about that.
Yeah, it's tough because there's already a big sort of compounding effect to the Doomsday counter going up, so we have to be careful with making higher Doomsday harder, right? Oof. Yeah, that was a
just for fun.
Thorough stomping you got there, Scott.
Yeah,
and a cool 50 Doomsday for your trouble. Oh man.
Yeah.
Or 40 Doomsday.
40.
Oh, that's right, because that went down too.
So that went down.
Yeah, the champion penalty is now 20 instead of 25.
Yeah, same with
shard penalty.
Shards went down to 20. Yeah. Shard penalty used to be 50.
Jesus.
Yeah, so
that's way down. I mean, the reality is that the game was too hard. Especially for normal and for people who haven't been playing a ton of it. And plus as we've been kind of stomping out some of the more overpowered aspects of the game, it's it was really easy with Commander with Varda. It's it's because Varda was insane and Chant of Vitality was OP and Chant of Vitality now is a 1-turn cooldown, so you can't just build up a ton of mana and then clear half the map with your army in 1 turn. That was a thing that I did, which I was really amused by, but yeah. Well, I had Varda moving 22 or something.
Oh my gosh.
And her combat rating was 60 something. Man. It was insane. So yeah. Anyway, that's all fixed. I mean, it's not because it's still good. It's just not insane.
Yeah. And that's the thing you want. So design wise, what we want is for you to go from your heroes to go from super awesome hero to godlike hero over the course of one of these games. And the problem is you have to, if you have a godlike hero, you have to make sure that the guys they're fighting
are at least not total pushovers.
Yeah, exactly. Otherwise, it's the word that gets thrown around is slog. Right. It's like, okay, I'm going to auto resolve all this stuff, and
yep. And the biggest thing there, I think the biggest culprits there are initiative and dodge. Both can get really high, and so your dodge gets high enough, and you barely get hit anymore. Your initiative gets high enough, you get like 3 turns for every enemy turn, and high level heroes can be killing 3, 4, or more enemy units every one of their turns, and it just becomes plus like hit points per kill and mana per kill, all that kind of stuff. So it's like and it's cool, and it's tough because it feels really cool when you combine those all into like turning Varda into this 22 movement death machine.
But there's got to be that step up in difficulty where, okay, I can take out the current guys, but oh crap, there's still.
I love the fact, by the way, look at all these icons that aren't missing.
Cleaning it up.
It has been our bugaboo forever. Just because we add stuff and we add stuff and we add stuff, and finally it's like, guys, we're releasing. We need to actually put these icons in. And so that's finally getting kind of locked down and cleaned up, which is great.
I was going to show off. I don't even know if you know about this. The Essence Scroll.
Oh, I think I saw that in a changelog and haven't seen it actually used. But it drops a new essence on your city.
Yeah.
That's totally baller.
It did not do the special effect, which means...
Was it supposed to have a particle?
Yeah, there's a particle that's on my machine at home. Or not at home, downstairs. Office, home,
than on your machine, yep.
When you crunch, you get home and office confused.
Yeah. So tons of that stuff going around. Like, I mean, the game has gotten so much better in the last week. It's ridiculous.
Yeah. They're working on the trade quest right now, or the trade interactions where the minor races will pop up and say,
Rivals
hey,
and ESK will both pop up with like, hey, you want to trade?
Yeah, so you have a way to, more ways to get, the loot that you need.
Yeah, it's things like, and it's a lot of it is like things like cedarwood oil or flawless crystal or stuff like that. Like
that actually gets that's needed for the minor races, the minor race quests.
Yeah, but it's needed for those, and a lot of it's needed for like the better weapons.
Yeah.
Cedarwood oil, not so much anymore. Like that drop rate got boosted at some point. It's not quite as difficult to find, but for the longest time, it was like you would have everything for this weapon, and you're just waiting for your cedarwood oil. Like, come on.
I think that got added to Harvest Forest too.
It's definitely on Harvest Forest.
Yeah.
It got added to one of the more common encounters too. Like,
okay.
I think like bandit. Oh, it's one of the. I think it's one of the higher tier bandits. One of the like second or third tier bandits that never used to spawn.
Okay.
Like now they spawn.
Okay.
So I think you see it a lot more. Question: how close to launch is it? A week. A week from tomorrow is launch day. So
we got a little countdown timer on sk.com.
That's right. That's right. CW says with sufficient initiative, you can win the SK Castle battle before combat turn 2 ends. Yes, that's because initiative got totally insane.
Yeah.
One of the biggest culprits there, there were 2 things that were compounding, which was cedarwood oil being +3 and the having too many enchanting slots.
Yeah.
So having only 1 enchanting slot per item, and then cedarwood oil only being +1 is a lot.
Actually,
more in control than it used to be.
I think that we changed. So a lot of the city enchanting spells got changed over to being stacking, and with that, they got shifted over to being like +1. Yeah, just flat. You get +1 instead of before it'd be like.
I believe all the auras are still per essence.
Are they?
Yeah, they are.
Oh, okay, gotcha.
Or the unit buff auras anyway. There's also the like defensive auras, but no, those are still per essence, and those are still
little OP.
Well, the thing is, like, if you get a city that gets like 2 shards close together, so that a lot of tiles have plus essence on them, it like you get up to 9, 10, 11, 12 essence, and all of a sudden you're cranking out pikemen with 30 initiative and 25 defense and 65 hit points. And like they just wreck. They just totally wreck shop. I mean, I would be all for changing to a flat value and making him stackable.
Yeah.
That's I guess more of a question for Brad as to how he feels about it. But yeah, like I cast enchanted supplies all the time now because logistics are really tight a lot of the time. Logistics are hard to come by, as they kind of always have been. But you can spend 30 mana and take up an essence slot to give yourself a +1. Which is really, really handy a lot of the time. So I love that spell. I cast it all the time. Let's see. So the insane AI SK would need new, almost game-breaking abilities to live up to the challenge. Oh yeah, for if you have the insane, the ridiculous initiative and whatever. Oh, did you like steal an army with a cheat and then put them on auto?
Yeah,
cast?
this is just.
What have you done, and why are you negative mana? That's a problem. Also, it's hard to say like. It's hard to do bug reports when you're cheating the hell out of the game.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah.
I'm just trying to give them something to watch while we talk because I can't talk and play. I just can't do it.
Enough. This guy's kind of a D. Not as much of a D as the freaking bandit sharpshooter army that has been spawning everywhere for me lately. Which is, it's like there's like the one pikeman, the one caster, the one priest, the one.
Yeah, pikemen are legit now.
Pikemen are legit now.
Oh man, they have the slay beast and slay
mounted.
Yeah,
and a natural 50% bonus against mounted.
Yeah.
So they're a lot more common that you see them out in the wild now, which is interesting because it gives Varda a bit of a drawback because she's mounted, and so like she can get wrecked really badly by pikeman enemies. Like single figure pikeman enemies come in and do like 20, 25 damage to her, which is really rough. Now, granted, I didn't have a ton of armor on her at the time, but
she needed to be knocked down to size because.
Oh, Varda, yeah. I still think we need to do some adjust last stand a little bit. Again, dodge and initiative are the two problems, and she gets 10 initiative and 40 dodge for last stand. When she's solo, so
new tactical arenas for some of the layers. So
we're
actually fighting in a bandit camp.
Hooray! Yeah, Rich has been making a ton of these. Rich is so good at these maps.
Yeah,
all of them. They're great.
We have a couple of we have new stronghold maps. Some of them have like guys coming in from the outside, so it's not just line of your guys, line of their guys. It's actually like you have a little pincher situation and some other things. So.
Nice. So more varied combats in general is a big, huge thing that we have badly needed to get in. And I think that we're really, it's in a much better spot than it was 2 weeks ago for sure.
Yeah.
And that's something we can adjust for.
Was it 5.3 or 5.4 that, I don't know. There was one where like the pendulum like swung.
Oh,
we go. Oh man, this is so easy, and then we made the tweaks, and like
that was
dial it back.
5.4, and then we had to do a hot fix because it was like, we may have kind of made the game sort of impossible.
Yeah,
sorry about that.
Ideally, what's been nice is that internally, as people play and people lose, there's kind of the comment floating around is I lost, but I had a lot of fun.
Right,
and that's pretty incredible to be able to make a game that. Or
I think it's
incredible. Yeah, it's like, okay, I know what I did wrong. Let's jump back in.
Right.
And that's where I will swear that it has that roguelike feel where you go in, you know you may lose, but you come out of it enjoying the experience anyways.
Sure. So I'm curious as to I would love for some of our guys that are in the stream all the time, or if you're not, doesn't matter, to just come in to tell me what you've been beating up the game with. Because I'm curious as to, because we see it like things like, I won on turn 100 again on insane, right? Which is like, I know that there are ways that I could win around turn 100 on insane. I think I fixed most of them. But I'd be very curious to see what people are thinking and if they think it's a problem, or if they like being OP, and to some extent that's okay. Right. So, again, with the fear of making things, boring or flat, right, or uninteresting, like that is the absolute worst thing we could do. Oh, I love Crimson Rings. I get so happy every time I get the Crimson Ring recipe. I make the heck out of that item.
I think so there's actually a. Do you get that? So, forging.
Yes.
We give a lot more forging recipes now. That's where a lot of people get the we'll get the essence scroll for cities from forging, and Tinker gets like all the all the recipes in his forging. Everybody gets resource harvesting now.
So
that was the Tinker. There used to be like a Tinker only thing that was kind of tucked away, and we liked it enough where it doesn't lead to anything. It's kind of a one-off. But if you're finding yourself low on loot, but you have a bunch of resources, it kind of will help you out in that area.
Okay. And also give a little bit more purpose to metal and crystal mines.
Yeah,
which is nice.
Yep.
Although we had a problem for a long time where pikemen were good enough that it didn't really make a ton of difference.
Yes.
To go spend the logistics to get the mines to get the better units. Part of that, let's see, what do? We gave everybody a 4 base move except for pikemen, who are 3. So they're a little bit slower. So that hurts.
The fact that
just generally made everybody else a lot better.
Paladins who cost, what do they cost? 2 logistics.
2 logistics, a crystal, and a.
I think one of each.
They might be one of each. Yeah.
Yeah. So
anyway, they were terrible.
We beefed her up to be like, the Civ equivalent of a tank. Like,
yeah, no, she's awesome.
In Civ, you get the tank. It's like, oh, sweet, I got this amazing unit that I can pump out, and so that's who she's supposed to be.
Yeah, and she's got a lot of awesome abilities and a ton more hit points now. It was a huge thing, like, because she's only a single figure unit, and so hit points don't get like triple.
Hit points in general were always a problem. When you had Tandis and Varda and these guys hitting so high, it's like everybody becomes a one shot, and it just gets sloggy.
Yep. So that's a little bit less ridiculous now. Let's see. Oh, interesting. CW says the more efficient I play, aka fewer turns to the win, the lower his end score is.
Oh, okay.
That's quite interesting. I'd be curious as to what we've been kind of. I don't know that we ever spent much time on that on that score, or we haven't until kind of now. I want to say Charles went in and messed with that a bit. Did he like Divine Shield himself or something?
No. This is really cool. We changed it. So we changed it so this guy, he's an ice mage, so he's immune to cold. He's an ice mage, so he's immune to cold, and this guy only does cold. So he's gonna have to die by the Yetis, or this may be a.
Yeah, man. Seeing this in action, I'm getting more concerned about making them only cold damage. Because it's like, and it's not that hard to get elemental immune.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh,
nice.
He did it.
Nice. Take your victory lap.
Oh,
Ice
man.
Mage guy. So I'd be curious to see what people think, though.
Yeah.
Because the lieutenants, they have some other stuff going on, and they have, they have different skills, and obviously SK casts and different.
That was rough, though. Like
that's. Yeah, they probably need at least some.
They need just some,
just so you can't just sit there and take
exactly.
It yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. Well,
I'm gonna go tell the team when I get back.
So I mean, it's not that you get a ton of units. Like that was a guy that you stole with.
Yeah. Oh, absolutely.
So it's not like you're swimming in. It's not like you're swimming in elemental immune units, but it's also not that hard to do.
Yeah.
With
though it's a little bit harder. I mean, now that the gems don't.
That's true. They don't add elemental resist anymore.
Yeah.
The silver bands still do.
Okay.
But I mean, you would have to enchant 10 silver bands or 5 on something that had some resistance.
Yeah.
Which is, I don't know. I feel like we could probably just give him like 10 physical attack or something,
exactly.
just so he's doing some damage.
Yep.
So you don't have things like the Ice Mage.
I remember that was always a problem. I had a bug in whenever you'd get a fire elemental that went to go fight a fire elemental, it would always result in like, a 300 turn draw.
Oh yeah.
In battle where
because neither of them could damage.
Neither of them hit. So
yeah,
you just need enough to, to hurt. That was pretty cool though. Man, you earned it.
He did. He is now level 8.
Jeez.
I think he started.
You get all the equipment. I'm so proud of you. Hold on.
Oh man, the legendary equipment is so good.
Yeah,
it's so good. Yeah. So anyway, so what else have we've been working on? There's such a huge list.
I'm so numb. I'm so numb, Adam.
I'm getting real sick of staring at spreadsheets. That's for sure.
Let's see. Elemental summons now have.
Summons are way better.
They're better, but they do have cooldown.
Cooldowns or charge times?
Cooldowns. I tried putting in charge times. It turns out those don't work with spells. Those are just ability only.
Oh, interesting. Okay.
But
they have a cooldown.
But they have a cooldown. They do get to move right away, though.
Right, which is awesome.
Which is kind of cool that you can like zap them in and then zap in another guy. And
Summon Bear now is actually really good.
Yeah.
Summon Bear is quite strong, and the summons are a lot cheaper to cast. Spells in general have been getting kind of made cheaper across the board.
Yeah.
Because we want people to use them.
Yeah. Right? I got way too much feedback that's like, I didn't cast a single spell. And I'm like, that's horrible.
Right. We need to fix that. So spells have been getting better and cheaper. Everybody starts with 2 spell casts.
Yeah, 2 spell casts. Yep.
So that should make Magic a little bit more attractive to invest in. Gosh,
what else? Lots of stuff on the SK side when it comes to how they Brad's changelogs will explain it better, but just tweaking, just that whole system just always needs to be tweaked and massaged. Yeah.
Brad will never stop changing those things. Well, which is great. I mean, it's ultimately the reality is that like there's no single answer to it, right?
Yeah,
there's no like, because there's so many different layers of things that interact with each other. You know, as the Sorcerer King as a game is a machine with a lot of parts and a lot of interlocking bits. So that's what's up with that.
New final battle theme.
Oh yeah, new
music.
Cinematic.
New cinematics.
New intro to the campaign.
Yes.
And new victory movie.
Yeah, new victory movie.
Which are awesome that the cinematics team did a great job.
That feels like it's so silly, but to this day, like it feels like you're getting a gift at the end. I mean, you need that. No, I remember Civ 4, you would win and it'd be like a little text box. I'm like, no, that's it.
Yeah. Well, I'm sure there have been some Stardock games in the past.
Oh,
that,
sure.
Are just as guilty.
Yeah.
But yeah. So new cinematics, new voiceover on the existing intro cinematic.
So a lot of polish there.
Yeah, just all of those final bits, all those final little threads getting kind of pulled in and pulled together and tied
I think
off
the logistics tooltip either did get overhauled or
yeah.
is getting. Where would that be? I don't even know.
You cheated your UI off, so hit Control X. And then tooltip the logistics.
I gotta look under the camera.
Yeah.
Faction-based logistics.
So base logistics, resources, units in training. I don't think we actually have any outposts right now on this map, but outposts will show up on there as well. We're not seeing. Oh yeah, resources. Yeah, so resources which are shards.
Okay, so it breaks down better.
So that's way better. And it has a note on there: units gained from quests do not cost logistics. Which is something I feel
important.
I don't think we ever said that anywhere
no.
in the past.
Help screen got totally overhauled, totally cleaned up.
Yep.
Oh man, so
much stuff. So anyway, we've just been in the lab, just getting it done. So I am very pleased. I think we've made so much progress on Sorcerer King.
No, it feels when you play a game, it feels a lot better.
Yeah, I don't want people to feel like we're scrambling for release because it's not really the case. This is kind of always going to be the way it is because in a game like Sorcerer King, like I said, it has all these moving parts. You can't really do this work, this balance and this polish and figuring out, oh no, mana costs are too high.
Yeah.
You can't do that until you kind of get everything kind of done.
Yeah.
Right. And so there's just a lot of that. And it's a really exciting place to be, actually. It's draining and it's kind of exhausting, but it's very exciting. It's very cool. So, tons of changes to the sovereign skill trees too.
Oh yeah.
We added maps in, I think are new, the shard maps and hero maps or champion maps. Or have those been around for a while?
Have been around.
Okay, I apologize.
But, I know the wizard tree got overhauled a couple of weeks ago.
So
I don't know.
Tons of changes.
I'm gonna go take a nap.
I'm gonna go do some more playtesting.
Yeah.
Because the spellbook enchants are still kind of all over the place.
Oh yeah,
I really want to nail those down a little bit better for release.
Yeah.
Explorminate says Adam sounds way more excited about SK than he ever does with Galciv. I've been a little bit more like hands-on with SK.
Yeah.
Two things. First off, like SK is like my jam. Like SK, like Brad pitched me on Sorcerer King when he brought me in to try to hire me. And try to sell me on the job. And that was one of the big reasons that I took the job, because I was really excited about Sorcerer King. And also, like, my job within Stardock has kind of changed. I've been a lot more hands-on with the design and everything with Sorcerer King. And so I'm a little bit more kind of embedded in it. So you'll get that. Paul's very excited about Galciv.
Yeah.
And Brad's very excited about Galciv. And I'm excited about Galciv too. It's just like... I don't like spend my time working on spreadsheets and getting excited about balance numbers on Galciv the way I do with Sorcerer King. Put it that way.
The thing about a third game is that you kind of know what it is. Whereas, I mean, there's still untapped potential in Sorcerer King.
Yeah, and it's something new and it's something different. Like, I've played so many strategy games. Yeah. Like, I mean, that's why I came to, again, kind of why I came to work for Stardock, is because I love strategy games. I play strategy games all the time. I still, like, in my free time, what do I play? I play strategy games. And Sorcerer King is new and it's different, and I love that about it.
Yeah.
Because it feels different, because you're doing different things, and you're not just, okay, build up infrastructure, build up tech, like get a tech lead, go, like, you're doing like fundamentally different things.
Yeah. No,
you have fundamentally different goals.
Like the early part of the game where you're trying to kind of duck under the SK's radar. And you're like, oh, do I put that second, do I expand more even though he told me not to? Like how long can I go before and now with the miners expanding, like there's just all kinds of interesting choices that are coming together really nicely on SK.
Yeah, for sure. So, and what the sweet spot is making it so that players have to make those choices instead of just being able to get everything.
Yeah, exactly.
Which is like the problem. You know, some of the OP stuff that I've been stamping out. Like that's so. Anyway, that's what's up with Sorcerer King. Release next week. Super excited.
And then tonight we got an OP. It may be an OP build. Very well, maybe.
But yeah, the opt-in goes out tonight, so you guys will be able to play around with. I mean, this is going to be super fresh, a very fresh build.
Yeah, pardon any crashes.
I will be keeping an eye on the forums for sure.
But actually, stability's been pretty good.
Really good. No, stability's actually been improving way more than anything else. And none of the changes that we've made have been like super, like fundamental changes, which is because the fundamental like game is there.
And Chris Bray won't let us touch the fundamentals.
Chris Bray won't let us touch anything. That's true. He's got a ruler basically. He basically just paces around the bullpen, just smacking knuckles with his ruler.
You better not check that in.
That was basically stand up today. Was like, okay, so don't check anything in. Here's a tiny list of things that you are allowed to check in.
If you beg me, I may let you check in an asset.
So I just lost a chat, so I apologize for that. So I can't chat anymore because Twitch hates me. But anyway, we're gonna get back in the lab, get back to doing more SK things. I'm gonna. I don't
know if I'll be on next week.
Are you gonna be?
I don't know. Well, a lot of times Brad likes to jump in for the, to hype people up, do his marketing thing. So. If I'm not here, thanks for the ride, everybody.
We might be scholars. Oh, we did have a question as to whether or not we were going to keep streaming after release. I would imagine we probably will.
Probably peter out.
What do you guys? A while.
Yeah. What are you guys doing with Galciv 3?
We've actually kind of kept streaming every week, mostly because Paul feels like it.
Yeah.
Because Paul likes his radio show.
So,
and I believe we're streaming this week for Galciv as well. Yeah. But it becomes kind of up in the air and a little bit more like, do we have stuff to talk about? Like, where's development at? Do we have new things to talk about? Right?
Yeah.
So that's kind of what's up with that. But release next week.
Yeah. I can't believe it.
We're all going to take a nap. It's going to be awesome.
Cool. It is going to be awesome.
It is going to be awesome. All right. Well, thanks for coming, everybody. Really appreciate your presence on the stream as always. We will be back. Well, I'll be back next week.
Yeah, I may be. Maybe I can talk to Brad and see if me and him can tag team it. We'll we can tell some old war magic stories.
Yes,
is that allowed?
What you should do on release week for Sorcerer King is talk a lot about the worst title in Stardock history. I think that's what you should do. I think
we'll have the cameras on. Me and him can have a good cry. It'll go viral.
Oh man, I'm sure Mark.
I'm so
will be
excited.
super happy with that.